You got that. I'll have a sign here on these. There's a gigantic contract. You can sign here on it. That's distressing. Oh. Let's go for it.
We'll begin today with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Welcome to the July, jumped ahead a month, June 24th, 2021 meeting for the Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. My name is Kevin Cook. I currently serve as the chair, also representing District 2. And joining us today is Commissioner Bill Rippon, representing District 1. Good morning. Good morning. And Commissioner Aaron Mays, representing District 3. Good morning.
Good morning.
Madam Clerk, our first item.
First item is item 3, consent agenda.
There are 2 items on the consent agenda. Is there any questions or is there a motion?
Move for approval. Second.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed, reflect that it passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 4, new business A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, this morning we have vouchers totaling $767,153.03. 2 highlights on that I want to point out. One is under Equipment Fund for the Commercial Recreation Specialists Incorporated. That's for $11,430 for the installation of the floating playground at Lake Shawnee, Adventure Cove. And then under General Expense, Evergreen Solutions for $14,355 is for a portion of the wage study. I don't have any questions about any of that, and I would move for approval.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Mays.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed, reflect that it passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook for approval, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed, reflect that it passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item B, audit finance number 1, update on revenues and expenses as of May 31, 2021.
Good morning, Betty Greiner, Director of Administrative Services, and I am here today with the financial overview as of May 31st of this year. And as you know, this is a snapshot view as of that date, and we will go through the different categories. The first category is revenue. So we will look at the total revenue here first. Total revenue that we had received through May 31st is $55,812,211. And that is $156,000 under budget, which is just about as close as on budget as you can get. That is actually 0.14% variance, or to put it in other terms, 1/7 of 1%. So we are right on budget total for the revenues. First, we'll look at property tax revenue. We received $48,434,176. That has not changed since last month because our next distribution is in June. Let's see, the next, and that is $486,000 over budget. Next category is other tax revenue. We have received $4,134,500. That is $89,000 under budget, and that is due mostly to the alcohol tax, as we talked before. Okay, the next category is charges for services. We received $2,360,417. That is $24,000 under budget, which makes it look like we are right on budget. And for the category, we are right on budget. But if you dig down deeper, it's a little more interesting because we have some that are above, some that are under. DOC is under budget, same as with Parks and Rec and the Sheriff's Office, but the Planning Department and the Register of Deeds is over budget. So even though as a category we're right on budget, It's because we have some that are over budget and some that are under. And that's really just, I think, going to be the way it is this year, because as we recover from the pandemic, different areas are, showing different signs of that recovery. And then our last category is other revenue. We received $883,117. That is $528,000 under budget, and the majority of that is, or the biggest category anyway, is investment income, which we've talked about before also. And here's our, just the pie chart that shows the different categories. We've received 87% of our revenue from property taxes, 7% from other taxes, 4% from charges for services, and 2% from other revenue.
Betty, can we stop right there for just a moment?
Yes, we can.
I know that if you were just to look at this snapshot, this is as of this date, but it's not an accurate representation of our total budget.
Correct.
So in our total budget, the property taxes is less than that 87%.
It generally, by the end of the year, is about 75%.
Okay. And I think that's
74,
important.
75%, yeah.
It's important to note that there's not a lot of other streams of income for the county to draw upon to fund services for the public.
That's correct. But I will say this is only the general fund that we're looking at. But unlike a lot of other counties, most of everything flows through our general fund. We have some special revenue funds and things like that, but the majority of ours flows through our general fund.
So unlike a city that maybe has sales tax or franchise fees, we rely primarily almost all on the property taxes for
That's correct.
funding of services.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, then we'll go into the expenditure side. We had spent or encumbered $46,182,134. That is $788,000 under budget, which sounds like a lot of money until you look at it percentage-wise. And percentage-wise, that is 0.69%, or 2/3 of 1%. So still a pretty small variance there, and that is, we are under budget by that amount, so in a positive way. This chart just shows the different categories and how much is those totals are made up from each category. Okay, law enforcement, as you know, is our largest category, and we have spent or encumbered $22,508,653. That is $1,229,000 under budget, and that is mostly attributable to the sheriff's office and the courts. Our next category is recreation. We spent $7,684,539. That is $591,000 over budget. But as we talked last time, we've had to advance money to the Stormont Vale Event Center, just advanced their allocations for later in the year to help them with cash flow, and then some of it is also Parks and Rec. The next category is Public Works. We spent $4,133,708, and I'll remind you, this is just how much has been spent out of general fund. This does not include sales tax dollars from JADO or federal federal programs. Next category is health, public health. It's at $4,033,761. That is right on budget. Administrative services, we spent $6,899,243. That is $157,000 under budget, and it's really spread among all of those departments, so there's not really one department that stands out in that section. And then our last category is debt service. We spent $922,230. That also has not changed, and that's just the interest for the first half that we paid back in February. So here, this chart just shows the different categories and how they line up with each other. And then our pie chart that shows 49% of our expenses are for law enforcement, 16% for recreation, Public Works is 9%, Public Health is 9%, Admin Services is 15%, and Debt Service is 2%.
And Betty, again, I'm going to stop just for 5 seconds just to say, debt service looks really good at 2% right now, but that's not, again, an accurate picture of the entire year.
That's right. This is just interest for the first half. Our full year of principal we pay in August, so that will show up later. And it generally ends up at the end of the year about 10%, which is still a very reasonable percentage for debt service.
Any questions for Betty? No. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item B2, consider authorization and execution of contract C-224-2021 with UMB Bank to provide a full array of banking services for Shawnee County.
Good morning again. With this item, we're just asking for your approval for the contract with UMB Bank for our banking services for the county. On February 25th, you approved our request to go out for RFP for banking services, and then on April 19th, you awarded the bid to UMB Bank and authorized the counselor's office to negotiate a contract. This is that contract that was negotiated. And it's for a full array of banking services. I kind of mentioned here in the memo, it includes remote capture, lockbox, credit cards, and our newest service is our smart safe services. So it includes all of that. With us today are Jackie Gerhardt here, and then also Wayne Bazo, and from UMB. So if either one of you would like to say something?
Just on behalf of UMB.
You want to come on up, Wayne? Thanks.
Come back.
On behalf of UMB, we just really appreciate the opportunity to serve the county in this capacity and look forward to a relationship moving forward.
Right. Thank you.
And I'm sure they could help answer any questions you might have.
Any questions regarding the contract for services with UMB? No. I'll make a motion then for approval. Motion for approval by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed, reflect that it passes 3-0. Thank you.
And if I could mention one more thing while I'm up here. I just want to mention that the budget hearings will be July 1st through the 9th. And the July 1st budget hearings will start at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We will be live streaming them as well as recording them, and then they will be available on our website. The schedule will also be on the agendas going forward. So just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention.
That's a good point. If there's a area that maybe interests you and you just want to see one area, you can go to the website and just watch the budget hearing for Parks and Rec or the Sheriff's Office, whatever may interest you, as opposed to watching everything. So, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Our next item.
Item C, Public Works. Number 1, consider approval of change order number 2, final to contract C-555-2020 with WCI Inc. Paola, reflecting final as-bid versus as-construction quantities, which results in a price decrease of $8,971 for the Northwest Wilson Road Bridge over the tributary to Half-Day Circle project.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works. We've been through this before. This is a final change order for the Wilson Road project over Half-Day Creek. Everything went well. As I announced last week, the project is complete and the road is open to construction. With the final change order, the total construction cost came down by about $900, and the total project cost is approximately $160,000 less than what we budgeted. Total means design, utilities, right-of-way, construction, everything. And that money doesn't disappear. It rolls into the next project. I think it's important to show the public what they get for their money, so I have some before and after pictures, or then and now. I think those are interesting. This is the bridge that existed prior to February of this year, before the project started. You can see that the roadway is somewhat narrow. There's guardrail, which is a hazard in itself. And this is what we end up with. Where is the bridge? You can't see it. Well, it's there. The hub guards are moved out beyond the clear zone. It's a much safer road, a much safer bridge. This is what we had in February, and this is what we have now. So with that, I look forward to your questions.
Any questions for Kurt?
No, it looks good.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I assume it probably for agricultural purposes is a lot nicer for them taking implements up and
You
down the
bet.
road and things like that too.
Well, those guys from Paola, they do pretty good work as opposed to, that town that, Director Cole and Jim Crowell are from that town to the south. For those that you don't know, my hometown is Paola in Miami County, and Director Cole and Jim Crowell come from Osawatomie, are arch rivals. And so, small towns in Kansas. So, any other questions?
There are no words.
Well, I'm from Topeka.
Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Mays. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Reflect that it passes 3-0. Our next item.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item D, Parks and Recreation. Number one, consider awarding bid of $107,903.50 to the WT Group LLC to perform an audit of parks and assets to help develop a transition plan toward compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, utilizing $107,903.50 from the 2021 capital outlay funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Boyd, Parks and Recreation.
I didn't get to finish it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It went to the next page. And authorization and execution of contract C-225-2021 for same. Hey, listen, I don't make them up. I do. You gotta wait till the clerk is done. I'm sorry. Sorry about that,
Good
John.
morning again. John Boyd, Parks and Recreation. Commissioners, we're seeking your approval of this contract to do an audit on our parks and recreation facilities to bring us into, or to create a plan to bring us into compliance with the ADA regulations. As you can imagine, this is going to be quite the endeavor, approximately a 6 to 7 month process to go through each and every facility and document everything that is good, bad, and that will need fixed. So be happy to have the questions.
John, just some questions maybe for everybody. This is just to do a study of where our deficiencies in handicap access lay.
Correct. They will go through each facility and document the good and the bad and create a spreadsheet of each individual property with deficiencies.
So why don't we have one of these already, or are we updating one that has been done in the past?
I believe we are updating an old one that has, well, let me back up. With consolidation, we had one from the city and one from the county. And so this one will entail all facilities and bring us up to date with that.
Okay. So we are about 9 years after the consolidation of the city and the county. Have we completely just ignored any handicap access issues, or have we been doing updates as we are able to?
Oh, absolutely. Anytime we do remodels or upgrades, we make sure and bring it up to code. And anything that is brought to our attention that is an issue, we try to address immediately to make sure that we don't create problems for patrons to be able to access facilities.
And then the final question, I mean, for $100,000 on a study, is this something that's just going to be done and then maybe kept on a shelf somewhere, or does it become part of the master plan for Parks and Recreation?
I would assume that it would be included in the new master plan that will need to be updated in the future. The final results we won't really know until we see the plan to see what the extent of our upgrades are needed. Once we get that, then we will be able to figure out, well, we may have to phase this over a period of time just because of the sheer repairs needed.
Okay, and so that's something that we would see then in a budget presentation or in a capital outlay presentation later on?
I would assume so, yes.
Okay. Any other questions for John?
John,
Sure.
do you recall how long ago or when we did the last study?
I do not. I do not.
Commissioner Rippon, do you recall?
I'm trying to think. It's probably been 15 years.
Okay.
It's been a long time. As part of our accreditation for Parks and Rec, are we required to do studies in this regard? It seemed like
Seems like that wasn't
Maybe it
really
was-
my chapter to deal with in accreditation, but I'm sure that that's part of it.
I think that was part of it, that we have to do, periodically, we have to do a new study for ADA upgrades or deficiencies. So, all right.
Any questions?
Well, so I would assume that when we get this back, there's going to be quite a few things that need to be, that are addressed at some point. Is there a plan for after we receive this back, for is there a specific timeline in which we'd like to make sure we get everything done, or are we just trying to discover what there is and?
Well, it's two parts.
Uh-huh.
Yes, discover where we're deficient, and then we'll bring it back to you guys to help us decide how much that we can invest in that over a period of time.
Any other questions?
No, I guess not.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the contract?
I would move for approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Rippon to approve the contract, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Reflected, it passes 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item D2, consider authorization and execution of Contract C-226-2021, Amendment Number 1 to Contract C-2-2021 with Heartland Coca-Cola, allowing for new products with funding from the Parks Services Division operating budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Luby, Parks and Recreation. This is just an added amendment to their current contract that for some 3 or 4 different types of product. I think it's more or less the size wasn't included in on the previous contract, so I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions regarding the contract?
No.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Reflected, it passes 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item E, Election Office. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of the following related to the purchase of a new electronic poll book system with funding from the 2021 Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds. A, Contract C-227-2021 with election systems and software for the sole source purchase of an electronic poll book system at a cost of $301,805. B, Contract C-228-21 with Barcodes, Inc. to purchase 306 interface boards and cables to connect the new electronic poll books to the existing Star Micronics printers at a cost of $15,294.08. And C, acquire an additional 110 4G Verizon MiFi units from the existing Shawnee County contract at an initial cost of $26,393.40 with subsequent years to be funded from the department operating budget at no more than $3,000 per year.
Good morning, Commissioners. I want to do, first of all, our request is to purchase, and there's 3 pieces to this, so we need the first one, and then the others would follow if you approve that. We need permission to purchase new poll books. You know, the original life of the poll books in Shawnee County was projected to be about 8 years, and we're basically right there. Our original plan was to try to get an additional year of life out of that. We're really trying to make sure that we're maximizing taxpayer dollars. We know it's expensive. So our original plan was to try to actually get through this entire year. Just as a reminder, 2020 was a tough year for the election office, and I think for most folks at the county. There was a lot of things that we had to deal with that were new. We lost almost half of our employees during the general election. So we would like to have spent a little bit more time digging into kind of what we experienced. There just simply wasn't time, so we're actually digging in a little deeper this year. Our batteries in our poll books actually were expanding and splitting some of our poll books up during the actual general election. So we didn't really have a chance to analyze that. We actually thought, after looking at the ones that had done that to us, that we might be able still to make it through this year. Then in February, we got notice from NoInc that they were not promising to have iOS support available. And at that point, Mark and I spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out if we still thought it was worth the risk or not to make that original plan work. So this is a little bit of a surprise, kind of a 1-2 punch for us as well as for the county. On the timing, like I said, I know that we had originally planned to try to make this a 2022 purchase. So I'm aware that this is a surprise a little bit to the county. We've talked about that. I really think that this is just my belief, based on all the factors, that it is the right time to replace the poll books for a number of reasons. I don't want to spend a lot of time on the history unless you've got specific questions. Like I said, we are about where we projected we would be on the original life of those iPads. Like I said, we've had a lot of physical issues as well as iOS software update issues with those. So we do think the time is now to do that. The other thing in looking at the options for the county, there's a big difference in the lifespan of the electronic poll books. The vendor that we're recommending that we sign a contract with has a guaranteed 8-year lifespan. The other vendors have about a 4 to 5 year lifespan, and so we think it's wiser in the long run to go with a longer lifespan with the guarantee. We think it will actually result in significant savings. We spent a great deal of time negotiating, trying to make sure that the county was getting the best possible deal. We've got significant savings from that county as a result of that. I just want to kind of also talk for just a second about why we think the electronic poll books are an important part of how we do elections now. A reminder, back we were one of the first in the state. I think we were the second or third in the state to go to electronic poll books. And what we have found, and I think the Secretary of State's office would tell you this as well, that the ability for our election workers who work 2 days a year and don't do this day after day, their ability to make sure that the voters are getting the right ballot and that it's handed out correctly has improved significantly. We're getting a consistent work product, and I believe that probably the two biggest single benefits of electronic poll books are accuracy of handing out ballots, and then the other big one that's very significant is the amount of time the voters have to stand in line. At larger polling places, we used to have to divide those up into 4 different lines. It had to be by your last name, and sometimes it just took a long time physically to flip through pages and find people, or you wouldn't find them, or you couldn't find them. So as a matter of voter convenience and accuracy in how we do things and avoiding provisional ballots, these are a very significant tool to accomplish those things. Additionally, employee time. It takes weeks if you go to just straight paper poll books, it takes weeks to scan all of that voter history into the system. So at the end of the day, it's a better information management system, and I think it's a better tool for making sure voters are properly taken care of and don't end up in a provisional ballot status unnecessarily. So just a reminder about kind of the purpose and the value that I think those bring. Again, just a reminder, I would like to have been out in front of this a little bit further for you, but I feel good that we made it through the year as well as we did, and I know Commissioner Rippron was down there at midnight helping us stuff ballots to make sure we got it done and met all the statutory deadlines. But that's where we find ourselves, and I think the time is right, and I think the contract that we have for you here makes sense for a lot of other reasons as well. And then again, ES&S is basically the sole source that we use for both ballot production as well as managing our voter registration systems in the state through the Secretary of State side. So it fits well, and it fits well with the other equipment that we currently have. So I will stand for any questions that you may have on that. I just wanted to kind of go over those things briefly and be happy to answer any questions, and then we can go off into those other 2 supporting contracts here just shortly if you'd like.
Well, Andrew, I think that you hit the nail on the head. The county doesn't like surprises. The taxpayers don't like surprises. Your requests today are for $350,000 that's unexpected and is an emergency purchase. And you've outlined why the poll pads are important, making sure that there's accurate ballots, making sure that we can get people voted efficiently, having transparency, getting in and out, advance ballots, the advance voting. But I really wish there had been more communication between your office and the commission that this was coming, either through the budget cycle, through the capital outlay. There's a number of ways. I mean, what happens is we're here now in June. We have an election that's coming up in less than 2 months, and we have now an emergency purchase. And I think back to Director Cole at the Department of Corrections. When the radios went from analog to digital, he knew that he was going to have a huge expenditure to completely replace all of those radios. He brought it to us in the budget cycle. He let us know ahead of time, years in advance, this is coming. We phased it in over a series of years. We were accurate, and we were able to do it. It was exceptionally frustrating as he's phasing out radios that were no longer supported by the manufacturer or that were out of warranty, but we were able to accomplish it over a period of time and not put an undue strain on our budget or the taxpayers. But, I mean, I just really think that there needs to be better communication, more communication, and I don't like surprises. I know that Betty Greiner, our audit finance director, doesn't like surprises. And but for being able to use the coronavirus funds, it would put us in a huge bind. And so I guess my question to you is, are there any other expenses that you've not put into a budget, not put into a capital outlay, or capital improvement plan that we should be aware of, that you are anticipating?
I'm not aware of anything. I think our original projection on most of the election equipment was 12 to 14 years with the expected life. So we're 7 to 8 years away from that, so I don't believe that's an immediate concern. I know that there are a few maintenance items that we've had some conversations about that we'll probably continue to visit with you about related to some of the batteries in some of that equipment. So I think there's some batteries that we'll have to try to figure out over the next year or two exactly how to address. That's the only thing I'm aware of, and I know we've had some initial conversations about that.
Rather than just having communications or conversations, my request is, if you have an expense that you know is going to be coming, even if it's a couple of years down the road, include a tagline in your budget. Include it in the capital outlay, letting us know this is coming down the pike so that we can budget for it. I would rather the buck, landing on us for not having dealt with it, rather than you coming to us and saying, I knew about it, I just thought it was maybe going to last a little bit longer than it did. And so just please make sure that we are heads up and head aware.
Absolutely. We'll do that.
Any other questions or comments? Commissioner Rupon?
This ESS, can you talk about security a little bit? And that's always a concern with these elections.
Yeah. I'm comfortable that the company takes it very seriously. In fact, I know that they've got a local server that a lot of the data actually goes to. So I'm not worried, at least with this purchase, about that going out to who knows where in the world into the cloud. So I know they actually have some additional things that they do that not every company does. And it's actually hosted in Kansas, so it's local, and we've got kind of an ability to see into that a little bit better than some of the other systems. And there's additional stuff that I can't go deep into in this meeting, but there are additional security measures that they are taking to protect voter data and processes and the way things work.
Do you feel like it's better
I think,
security?
yes, I think they're significantly better than a number of the other options on the table.
With the electronic poll books, does that allow us to use less workers at polling places using the electronic books as opposed to the old paper?
Yeah, we've saved a significant number of election workers, because if you're able to make sure the ballot gets handed out correctly, I don't need as many people there really focused on making sure that it's done correctly. So yeah, we've definitely saved on election workers. And we've definitely saved even on the back end, not just on the front side of election, but on the back end where you're trying to move data around manually, one voter at a time. It takes a while to get through an average in a presidential year, 70 or 80,000 transactions, and to make sure those are moved over correctly.
The other question I have is, if we approve this today, what's the turnaround time on this?
ES&S has assured us that they are going to get us a delivery very soon. We've been kind of visiting with them behind the scenes, saying, if we get approval, how quickly can you move? So we're definitely engaged in all those conversations. One of the big challenges right now is the availability of electronics. And so that is a concern with any vendor, is do they actually have the ability to deliver what they say they can do? The supply chain is pretty tough right at the moment. But we've had a number of conversations. They believe and we believe that they can get that done and make that functional in the time that's needed.
Commissioner Mays?
Yeah, is there any possibility that if they can't get them, that we have a partial delivery? I mean, obviously, we have a municipal primary on August 1st, and so I think it's the 1st, isn't it? Something like that. So, but
Soon.
It's soon. And so I mean, if microchips are a problem and maybe they can get half of these, is that enough to accomplish that mayoral primary?
Yeah, we recognize that since it's not county-wide, we don't have to have all 306 immediately, so we probably won't even request that we get all of them immediately, even though we are going to need them soon. Just from a logistics standpoint, one of the things I want to talk about here in just a second on these other two contracts is we're saving the county over $230,000 by repurposing the existing printers and installing a board and a cable and making the existing printers function. We believe, again, I guess Commissioner Cook, back to your question, am I aware of anything? I'm not aware of anything with those printers. They are used, they've been used for 7 or 8 years. I believe they'll do another 6, 7, 8 years. I'm not certain of that, but all of my research says that it will. So I guess to answer your question, let me go over those things here in just a minute, but we're really trying to make sure that we've coordinated and thought through every possible bit of savings that we can achieve for the county, that it will be functional, and that we'll have at least what we need to get through this election with guaranteed delivery of anything slightly thereafter if necessary to make sure we can get through the next election as well.
Okay, and then my last question is, can you just kind of explain what happens to the old poll books? Are they recycled? Are they given to the vendor and refurbished, or?
Because the iOS update has actually rendered over half of them completely unusable and not updatable, and because about half of them were purchased originally with HAVA funds, we have to be very careful about exactly how we account for those and where they go. So I know we were planning to have conversations with the jail about them using them, the ones that are still functional enough to do so, for some of their, I think, inmate programs. If I remember correctly, we had a brief conversation. So I would assume that between checking with the Secretary of State and those HAVA fund requirements, some of them will just be eliminated in the least hassle factor possible, just because I know there's some very specific requirements about exactly how you have to get rid of HAVA funded equipment. And then additionally, to the extent possible, we're going to try to work with the jail and make sure that they have that capability. And we thought that made sense, but again, we'll probably visit with commissioners about exactly how that looks.
And those hard drives will be completely wiped clean, so there won't be any kind of voter data still on them or anything like that, right?
Yeah, really, that's just a matter of removing the app from all of the iPads, so that shouldn't be too tough.
Okay.
I think it's just, if you're going to be turning them over to the jail, I would really hope that your voter data is completely removed.
Yeah, I think that's actually fairly easy to achieve, since it's really just an app on the actual iPad itself.
Andrew, given that we were one of the first 2 counties out of 105 counties to go to electronic poll pads, given that you now have a rate of failure rendering the batteries expanding, the operating system, we have 103 other counties that followed our lead in going to poll pads. I mean, not all have gone to electronic poll pads, but significant. Are you communicating out to these smaller counties, letting them know this is a rate of failure, this is a product that you're going to need to bring to your county commissioner so they're not surprised?
There's actually been a number of other counties that have already moved to the ES&S product. A number of other counties have actually already, a couple years ago, replaced their poll books. So I think we have really pushed the life and the possibility out of our existing equipment to the absolute end of the line. I have had communications, and every year at the KCC EOA elections officials meeting in the state, we do talk about that with people. And I think, 6, 7, 8 years battery life out of some of those things is pretty standard. I mean, it's not shocking that you start to have those kinds of issues. So we have visited with people about that.
You want to go ahead and talk about the other 2 items?
Yeah. Trying to remember which one is next. I think it's the boards and cables. Yeah, that we were trying to find a way to use the existing printers without buying new ones. We think we're saving the county roughly $230,000 by going this route. We're going to install the new boards in the printers. We think they will work fine. Again, I can't get perfect visibility into exactly how long they will last, but I feel comfortable they're in pretty good shape for a while yet. I'll just say it that way. We think this is, when you start talking about these kinds of dollars, I think anything you can do to save money and to make something work, if it works correctly, is worth doing. So that's part of why we went this direction. Basically, what we're doing is adding, rather than a Bluetooth, it's going to be a hardwired connection. So we think that that actually will help solve some of the problems we've had in the past with those iOS updates and the way they work. And the Bluetooth piece has created some issues in the past, and we think it's probably a smart approach to doing it. So that's what we're doing, is changing out that Bluetooth connection for an actual hardwired connection to those printers. And then on the other one, we are, and I don't know, is Pat here? And you're, I think, okay. If we need to get deep into a conversation, we've got other people that can respond. But basically, we are just asking permission to use the county's existing contract to replace our MiFi units. It's a little bit of expense up front, but then it's fairly minimal from the years that are out to actually pay for the actual use of them each year. We expect it to be very similar to our current structure. It's just the initial purchase of that time costs a little bit to get done.
Any questions? And I also see that Pat O'Lander's in the back of the room if we have any technical questions.
So are these MiFis, are these faster than the old ones, or, you know, what's the reason for these instead of the old ones?
My understanding is that they are a better product that connects more consistently. We've had a little bit of issue off and on with the consistent connection, which is pretty important. So we think that there's a significant upgrade in both the way it works as well as the model that we're using. So we think it's a good time to do that as well.
Any other questions? Commissioners, do you wish to approve these as a whole, or do you wish to approve them one by one?
All at once is my preference.
Is there a motion then?
I would move to approve all this.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Mays. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, reflect that it passes 3-0. Andrew, just again, communication is key, making sure that we can properly budget, set these things out, and surprises, not good. So, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Our next item.
Item F, Commission, number 1, consider approval of resolution number 2021, appointing the Shawnee County Appraiser Steve Bauman for a 4-year term.
Morning, Commissioners. Steve Bauman, County Appraiser. Kansas statutes require that you all appoint this position to a 4-year term by resolution. The previous 4-year term is up. I'd like to tell you that I've enjoyed the challenge of the position, have a great staff, everything seems to be going smoothly, and I'd appreciate another shot at this for another 4 years.
Commissioner Rippon, Commissioner Mays, any question for Mr. Bauman?
I feel like this would be a good time for a job interview.
All right, I'm ready.
Anything?
No, I don't have any questions. I think you've done an excellent job. I look at your, you know, how accurate you are compared to the rest of the state. You're at the top, so.
Our numbers are some of the best, and that's
critical.
It's a good testament to the work of the staff and what they're doing. And the public seems to be generally pleased with the work that our staff does. I know we don't always agree on value, but the public is first priority, being treated with respect, and you know, we're getting rid of the government red tape type thing, and we don't pass the buck, we stop it in our office. So
It seems like it's probably a little more difficult job with the price of housing going up so fast in this town right now. I'm not sure how you adjust for that, but.
well, we're trying to keep up, and you know,
Yes.
our values are as of January 1st, so we're losing ground on a daily basis right now with the market going up as high as it is. So I mean, we could be seeing 10% increase next year in values, which does create its own challenges because not everybody agrees that should happen. But I don't know yet. We'll see how it plays out.
Any other questions? I'll move then for approval of the reappointment of Steve Bauman as the county appraiser.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Reflect that passes 3-0. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Our next item.
Item F2, consider approval of resolution number 2021-46, establishing Juneteenth National Independence Day as an official county holiday.
Commissioners and the public, a week ago, we returned from executive session and actually did take action where we directed the county councilor to draft a resolution recognizing Juneteenth as an official county holiday. And we have that then before us today for consideration. Jim Crow, our county councilor, has drafted this. This would be recognized as a paid leave vacation as opposed to just a vacation or holiday, but it does recognize significant impact in our community and impact across our nation. And so it also, Jim, do you want to touch base on how you followed or formatted?
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Krause, Shawnee County Councilor. Yes, after getting our direction from last week, I went in to see exactly what action the federal government had taken. We try to track as closely as we can those federal holidays, and it was signed into law by President Biden last Thursday as a federal holiday. And so this was drafted to recognize it as a county holiday in the same way that it is a federal holiday, and expresses the intent that the county would recognize Juneteenth as a county holiday on the same date each year that the federal government does for consistency purposes.
Jim, I think it's important to know the county is not required to observe any federal holidays, are we?
We are not.
And so this is a significant act by our county to show that not only are we recognizing it as a federal holiday, we're recognizing it as a county holiday as well. And so that's something that we're not obligated to do, correct?
Agreed.
So, any questions for Jim? Commissioner Rippon?
It's a federal holiday. Are they recognizing the date, or like in a lot of holidays, are they trying to put it on a Friday or a Monday, or do we know how?
It looks to me, based upon what I've seen, that it'll be on the actual date of June 19th, unless it's on a weekend, and then it will be observed either on a Friday or a Monday.
And it would follow then whatever the federal holiday is.
Exactly, and as a matter of practice for Shawnee County, each year in November, we assess when those holidays are scheduled to fall over the next year, and then you adopt a resolution actually I believe it's the November timeframe that announces for all county employees which actual days will be observed for the holidays for the next year. So this will be included with that if you adopt this resolution today.
Thank you. Any other questions? I know. Go.
No, I just wanted to say, I think this is something that's important for us to do. I know it comes with a little bit of an expense, but I think it's worth it, so.
I know that we have a number of the public that are present representing the Juneteenth committee and have toiled long and hard recognizing Juneteenth as a holiday for Shawnee County. Would any of you want to come and speak or be recognized? And when you come up to the podium, if you just say your name.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Norma Avery.
Good morning.
I'd just like to say, first of all, I'm the president of Topeka Family and Friends Juneteenth celebration, and this is just an honor. It means a lot to us. We worked hard, and we've been steady with the National Juneteenth family, and we are our Juneteenth family here in Topeka, we are, Kansas we're over at the Kansas Juneteenth. So we just want to say thank you from the whole state, because this is just an honor to be recognized. We're just overjoyed and happy. And we have to realize that Juneteenth is just not one day, it's every day. So it just brings to notice that our theme is to be united. And it's something that we have tried to push all along, and we will continue to push it, because we all are working for the same thing, to just come together and work together. And this we will keep trying to do. And we will make it one day. Thank you.
Thank you. Very well said. Is there anyone else that would want to comment? Commissioners, at this time, I would make a motion to adopt the resolution recognizing Juneteenth as a Shawnee County holiday.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Reflect that it passes 3-0. Thank you. And thank you, Jim, for drafting this so quickly. Madam Clerk, our next item.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
This is an opportunity for any department head or member of the public to address the commission on any issue.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dusty Nichols, Emergency Management. I want to take a couple of minutes to kind of describe what's going on over the weekend here. If you're unaware, there's a concert and an air show. So there's also severe weather, and I'd ask our media partners to please post this information or pass this on as much as possible, as wide as we can. We have there's a program we called Nixle that we've got through the Regional Council. So what it does is we can send out text to people who subscribe to a specific geographic location. So we've set up 2. We have one for the air show and one for the Stampede. And all somebody has to do is text Stampede 21 or Air Show 21 to, text the number 2, text that Stampede 21 or Air Show 21 to 888-777. That'll register you to get emergency information directly from Shawnee County Emergency Management. Now, what we're doing in the background, obviously, we have National Weather Service chat, meteorologists, and we're watching weather as it rolls in. We have an event forecaster who watches nothing but that geographic location to give us as much early warning as possible, so we can get information out as early as possible. We've requested at least 30 minutes, if at all possible, because there are no shelters, hardened tornado shelters at the Stampede location or the air show location. There are overhead shelters. So we were going to request, when we see these things come in, that people shelter in place, which means move to your cars or some kind of overhead shelter. We're really concerned about the ride shares, Ubers and so forth, who show up without their vehicles. So we've also worked with the Heartland Park staff and Stampede staff to find locations. Depending on where the storm or the event is happening or where the bulk of people are, they will try to open some locations closer there so people can take shelter if they're in a rideshare program. These are not tornado shelters. They are hasty shelters to protect people as much as possible. All that said, we have storms coming in tonight. In the next couple of days, I just literally got off the phone with the National Weather Service. We have some rain and stuff coming in this morning. Should clear up by noon. Possible lightning with that this morning. And then the heat index is going to bump up to about 105. That's hot. So please drink water, stay in the shade as much as possible. That heat is going to cause us problems later. There's a storm system setting up north of us that could drop down our way, bringing all the hazards. Hail, high winds, lightning, of course, and potential tornadoes. So we really need people to pay attention. Make your plan now. And when you enact your plan, don't hesitate. Don't guess. Go. So that number, again, is Stampede 21. Text Stampede 21 or Airshow 21 to 888-777 to get in our Nixle program, and we'll get information out as fast as we can. We do have our sirens that have been tested. We have the Nixle that has been tested. We have done every test we can to make sure that we can protect people, at least get them the information so they can protect themselves. So the next couple of days are kind of iffy because We have to see what happens weather-wise, but they're not promising anything great, but he's hoping to get, the gentleman I talked to in National Service indicates that we might have some clearing on Saturday and Sunday and have a nice time. So, but we are concerned over the next 12 to 24 hours with rains. So that's all the good news I have. So please make a plan now. 888-777. Text Stampede 21 or Airshow 21 so you can get in our queue. So, any questions, sir?
Any questions for Dusty? No. Thank you.
And lastly, I just want to say thank you to all the public safety entities. There's the all acronym alphabet that's out there that help put these plans together. Thank you to all entities that have helped do that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Courtney House, Director of Public Works, just a friendly reminder that Monday, after all the fun and activities are over, our contracting partner will be starting their work on South Topeka Boulevard, northbound lanes only. One lane will always remain open. That's it.
All right, so thank you, Kurt. Any other updates and communications?
Good morning, County Commissioners. Jim Crowell again. I just wanted to recognize Mark Govea, who is the mayor of the city of Osawatomie. The Kansas Mayors Association just recognized him as the 2021 Mayor of the Year. So I just want to say that.
Huh? You don't say. I think the challenge now is for Paola.
Shots fired.
All right. Any other communications this morning? Commissioner Rippon?
Glad I grew up on a farm. Well, yeah, I attended a grand opening for Wings. Of course, they've been open for a year. They're over at Fairlawn Plaza Mall, but due to COVID, they really never did get to do their grand opening. So they did that the other day, and also attended a groundbreaking ceremony for Cedar Hurst, and it's at 17th and Urish. It's going to be a retirement living community, and I think there's 80, almost 90 units there. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful facility. It's a great location, and so we're glad to see them come into town. That's it for me.
Okay. Commissioner Mays?
Well, I wasn't able to attend, but we also had a groundbreaking in my district for the new Kansas Turnpike Authority offices, which will be built at 470 and Topeka Boulevard, basically. And so hopefully that means they're going to be moving some more administrative jobs up to Topeka. So it's good to see that.
Yesterday, I had the ability to go to the ribbon cutting for Hills Small Paws Innovation Center here in Shawnee County. And this is another great improvement for Shawnee County and our businesses, recognizing the small animals and that they take care of, and we all care for. So, our next item.
Item 6, executive session.
There is a need for an executive session today for a period not to exceed 30 minutes. It'll be on personnel issues of non-elected personnel and consultation with the attorney for the body or agency, which will be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship. No action is anticipated. Is there a motion made by Commissioner Cook? Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Reflect that it passes 3-0. Let's say starting at 10 o'clock.
Would you mind starting it just a little bit later? I
Okay.
want to talk to somebody real quick.
All right, so let's say starting at 10:05, 10.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
10:05.
And how long was it?
30 minutes.
30 minutes, okay.
And motion made in second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, reflect passes 3-0. Jim Crowell, Andrew Lewis, Betty Griner. We are back from executive session. No action was taken. We are adjourned.
Okay, we'll see you next Thursday.